Timotab, and today I'm going to solve Harvest by Fuxia. If you would like to try solving this puzzle for yourself, it'll be the first link in the description. Let us have a look at the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply, so we are going to place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every box. Digits connected by a V sum to 5. So if this were a 1, this one would have to be a 4, so they sum to 5. Not all possible V clues are given. So it's allowed by the rules for this to be a 1 and for this to be a 4, summing to 5. Okay. A digit in a blue row, X, indicates where X appears in that column. So, so this is in row 1. So if there were a 3 here, for example, then that's saying we're going to place the 1, because this is the blue row 1, we're going to place a 1 in row 3. Conversely, if we were to discover that this were a 1, we could place a 4 here, because now that 4 is saying that the row 1, or the digit 1, because this is row 1, is going to be here. Likewise, if this were a 4, that would be saying we get to place a 5 here, because in row 5 of this column, in row 4 of this column, this is the 4, that's where the 5 goes. And if we had a 9 here, then we would have to place a 7 here, and obviously that can't work for a couple of reasons, but it serves the example for the blue rows. Okay, a digit in the red column, Y, indicates where Y appears in that row. So again, this is going to index the 1s, and the digit here, if that were a 2, that would be a 1. If this were a 5, it would actually index itself. If it were a 9, it would place a 5 over here, and in fact the 5 here would place the 9 there. So that's how the indexing rows and columns work. Okay, I am going to restart the puzzle to reset the timer, and let's begin. Okay, something to know with these 159 puzzles is that in each set of 3, I need 1 low digit, 1 medium digit, and 1 high digit. And why is that? Well, these 3 digits are going to index 3 1s because they are in row 1. And I need to place one of those 1s in this box, and therefore must be indexed by a 1, 2, or a 3. I'm going to place one of the 1s in this box, which is going to be indexed by a 4, 5, or 6, and one of the 1s in this box, and that's going to be indexed by a 7, 8, or 9. If I look at these 3 digits where there's going to be a 5 index, I'm going to index one of them into this box, one of them into this box, and one of them into this box. And likewise with the red digits, these 3 will be 1 low, 1 medium, and 1 high, because 1 digit will be indexed into this box, 1 digit will be indexed into this box, and 1 line will be indexed into this box. So that's something to think about. But that has some consequences for this digit, or this pair of digits here. If that were 2 and 3, then that would mean that I would need to have a 1. The 2 would mean I'd have to have a 1 in one of those 2, and I'd also have to have a 1 in one of those 2 for the 3. So that can't be a 2, 3 pair. That must be a 1, 4. And now this only has the option of being 2 and 3. And I can use the same logic from there over here. This is a 1, 4 pair. Okay, how does that affect things? So, if this is a 4, that's saying I need to place a 1 here, but the 1 is definitely in one of those 2. So that cannot be a 4, that must be a 1. That must be a 4. This 2 or 3 says there is a 1 in one of those 2, and this 2 or 3 says there is a 1 in one of those 2. I need a high digit here, which must be 7, 8, or 9. This 4 tells me actually that there is a 1 right here. This 1 is indexing itself for the row, the column indexer. Right, and I have a 1 in one of those 3. It can't actually be that one because of that 1 4 pair. So 1 in one of those 2, and that can't be a 9. Okay, this one here, I can now say that by the column indexer, the red ones, that must be a 2 to index that 1. We know that 1 is in this row, either here or here. So that must be a 6, 7 pair. That 6, 7 makes this an 8. So that makes that a 1. And now we know that this is a 3. Okay. So this 1 4 pair here is saying that there must be a 9 in row 1 in one of these 2 columns and a 9 in row 4 in one of these 2 columns. Well, that can't be a 9, so that must be a 9. That makes this a 1, this is a 4, and that makes this a 9. This one in the red is saying that there is a 5 over here. This 9 in the red is saying that there is a 5 over here. This 5 in the blue is telling me that there is a 1 here. This 5 in the blue is telling me that there is a 9 here. All right. And this 9 is telling me about the 1 here and vice versa. So that's all good. This 9 means that this digit, which is indexing that 9, must be a 6. This must now be a high digit, that is 7, 8, or 9. And by Sudoku, and also by the fact of the indexer, there is a 9 in one of those 3. There is a 1 in one of those 2 by Sudoku. In fact, it's not this one. That's where the 1 goes. That makes this an 8. This must be a 4. It's the last remaining digit in the column. And that places a 1 just there. And that's all of the ones apart from resolving these here. These 2 digits are a 7, no, not a 7, 8 pair, a 7, 6 pair. And in fact, this 6 is indexing this 1. Or this digit is indexing this 1, so that must be the 6. Nope, let's try that one. There we go. And that's a 7, and we already have the 1 there, so that's good. Okay. So, that 4 gives me the 9 there. All right. Now where do I look? Okay. This needs a low digit, but it can't be a 1 or a 2. Therefore, there is a 3 in one of those 2 cells. That means that there is a 5 in one of these 2 cells. That's one of those 2 is going to index the 5 here. That means that the 2 in this set of 3, or the low digit in this set of 3 must be a 2. And that indexes a 5 into one of those cells. All right. Okay, there's a 9 in one of those three, which is in row 6. So there has to be a 6 in one of those three, but it can't be in that one. So there's a 6 in one of those, and that is now not a 9. I need a low digit here. It can't be 1 or 3, therefore it's a 2. That places a 9 into one of those two, and that makes this a 2 or a 3. And in fact, this 5 means that this is a 2 or a 3, and this candidates for 5 makes that 4, 5, or 6. Okay. Okay, that is nice, I think. Can 3 go here is my question. I need to place a 3 in one of these 4 cells. Can 3 go here? Well, if 3 were here, that would be a 2, and then by the indexing rule, that would be a 5. That cannot simultaneously be a 3 and a 5, so 3 cannot go here. Can 3 go here? If 3 were here, that would be a 2, and then that would simultaneously be a 3 and a 9. So 3 can't go in either of those two. 3 is therefore in one of those two. That makes this a 3 and this not. That 3 means that this is a 5 and that is not a 5. That 5 means that this is a 2. That is now not 2. And that means that this can't be a 5, because one of these two cells is indexing the 5 into one of these two places here. All right, now can we do a similar trick with the 2 in this box? It can no longer go here by Sudoku. Can it go here? If this is a 2, that makes this a 3, which then makes this a 9 at the same time as it being a 2, which it cannot be. So that can't be the 2. This is therefore the 2. That makes this a 3. This is a 9. This is the last digit in the box, which is the 3. This 2 is looking down, making this a 2. We already have that 9 in place. Okay, that's nice. This needs a middly digit, and it can't be a 4, so that is a 5 or a 6, and that puts a 5 into one of those two. All right, can we do something? I already can't put a 7. I've got lots of room for digits. All right, this box perhaps. This needs to be a high digit. So that is 7, 8, or 9. And that it can't be an 8, because I already have an 8 in the box. And that puts a 9 into one of those two. That means that if 9 is in one of those two because of this 7 or 9 here, that means that 2 is in one of those two, but it can't be in this one, so it must be here. That makes this a 9. This is now a 7. I need a high digit here. That is 8 or 9. That puts 9 into one of those two. That wasn't quite what I wanted to do. Hang on. That is definitely 8 or 9. 9 is in one of those two. That puts 4 into one of these two. It can't be this one. This one must be the 4. So that's the 9. That's an 8. This is 3, 6, 9. That one can't be a 6, and it can't be a 3, so that is 9. That is a 3-6 pair. That means that one of those two is a 9 for the 6, and one of those two is a 9 for the 3. Okay, these two digits then are 4 and 6, and I know the order because of Sudoku. This digit is an 8, and that makes this 5, 6, and 7. This can't be a 6, so 6 is in one of these two along with the 5. So that's a 5, 6 pair, that's the 7. This 5 being in one of these two means that one of these two is a 3. And it can't be this one. So that's a 3, that's a 5, that's a 6, which is indexing that 5 that we've just placed. This 8 is looking across here, making that 7. That makes this 9 and this 9. That makes this a 6 and this a 3. These three digits are 5, 7, and 8. And that one is not an 8. Okay, the high digit that's in those two cannot be an 8 or a 9, so that must be a 7. That places 5 into one of those two, and that is no longer a 5. So the high digit that is here can't be a 7, so it must be an 8. That places a 5 into one of these two. Okay, 5 being in one of these two makes this digit 7 or 8. 5 being in one of these two makes this digit 4 or 5. We have a 5, 7, 8 triple in this column. These two digits are between them 2 and, well, the 2 can't go here, so that's a 2, and then the last remaining digit is a 6. Okay. This 3 is up here, so that can't be a 3, it's a 2. And that's a 3. That makes this a 1 and this a 1. This needs to be a high digit and must be an 8, and we've already got the 9 for that. These ones that I've just placed will resolve this as a 6 and this as a 7. These two digits, I need a 6 which has to go there, and then that is a 4. We already noted the 5, 7, 8 triple, so this digit must be a 3. This 7 makes that an 8, which means the 5 is right here. That makes that 7 and that 8. This is 4 or 5. So 5 is in one of those two, 8's in one of those two. Yep, that works still. Where does 8 go in this row? Can't go there anymore because of this 8. So that must be an 8. That makes that the 5 and that a 4. Last remaining digit in this row is a 4. That is not an 8. So this is 2, 7, and 5. That's not a 7 or a 2, so that's a 5. Don't think I know. Yeah, so that places a 5 into one of those two. These two digits are 7 and 2. That must be the 7, and that's the 2, validated by that being a 5. This must be a 4 or a 6 by Sudoku, and it can't be a 4, so that is a 6. That places a 5 here, that places a 4 there, and a 5 there. That 5 makes this a 2, and this a 7. And then finally, we have 3 digits to go. This is a 3. This digit is it's an 8, and this is a 7. And that was a beautiful, elegant puzzle. I really liked how minimal the clues are over and above the 159, which just goes to show how powerful using both rows and columns for the 159 indexing is. Anyway, really enjoyed that. Definitely approachable if you know the trick or can figure out the trick about the entropy in within each box. But that was a lot of fun. Thank you very much, Fuxia, for creating it. Okay, if you enjoyed this, then please hit the like button. You can subscribe to see some more, and I would love to hear your comments. I'm looking forward to next time. Be seeing you.